All right.
We are live.
Yeah, I think. All right, my friends. Well, if we're live, hello, everyone. If we're not live, I'm going to edit all this out.
You'll never know.
All right. I'm
All
ready.
right. Sweet. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's this month in Superman. I'm your host, Vactor, and joining me, as always, are the super brains behind the Beer with Geeks podcast, Tim Tangent and Super Frank. Fellas, what are you drinking? Let's start with Tangent. Let's start with Tangent.
I am drinking a Leffe Blonde. It is an old beer. It's from 1240 AD, the original
What?
recipe. Yep.
Oh, I
And
thought that
so
bottle was. Okay.
yeah, I hope not, because it's probably not better anymore.
That's gonna be a real bad time. We'll find out real
It's a
soon, though.
it's a s- it's a
Yes.
slight aftertaste of
Ooh.
maybe, like, I don't know, death. No. Yeah. No, that it is a delicious blonde, a lot of vanilla
Mm.
notes in it, some clove. So it's a very good beer. I do recommend. It's been around for, since the 1200s, so there's got to be something to it.
800
Nice.
years of tradition. How can you argue with that?
Hmm.
Well, I am delighted. Super Frank, do you have a beverage that you are inhaling today?
I do. I do. I am imbibing Sam Adams Cold Snap, the last one that I still have lying around from earlier this spring. Uh, the delicious white ale that I enjoy so much every year. Last one of the year. It's June feels like a good time to say goodbye to that.
Excellent. And I don't have uh A&W Zero like I usually do, but I got a Coke Zero today. I got the OG in the house, my friends.
Nice.
Coke Zero,
See, that's
which
my soda of choice. Is a
oh
Coke Zero.
really?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
this
my
is my
go-to.
wife's favorite. So
Nice.
shout out to my wife. I'm drinking your soda.
Mm.
Because my A&W is out. We need to get some more. So put that on the grocery list, honey. All right, let's go. Let's talk about what happened this month in Superman. This was a great month. We're talking May 2025, a fantastic month. And we actually have one live chatter right now, Major Zero, who is a good friend, Adam Joyner. How you doing, Adam? He runs a great whiskey and alcohol channel. So if you want to check him out, he said he might sign up because we're drinking in this one. So yes, Adam, we are here and we're drinking. Thank you very much, my friend. But May, like I said, was a great month for Superman. Not only did we have free comic book day this month, and we got some super titles that we were talking about in on free comic book day, but we also got a new trailer for the James Gunn Superman movie, formerly known as Superman Legacy. So let's actually start with that one, my friends. What are we feeling right now? What's the kind of gut check about this Superman movie? We had the teaser trailer. Now we have the full trailer. Let's start with Frank, Super Frank. What was your immediate feeling after seeing this
I-
official trailer?
I'm still like I'm feeling good going into this. I'm feeling good going into this. It feels like I'm getting all the right signals. It feels like this is going to be. I feel like I can be vulnerable again. I feel like I can let my heart love again. And maybe
Yes,
this time I'll be lucky.
man. That
Maybe
that
this
was
time.
also that was a feeling that I was getting as well. Tim Tangent, how are you feeling after this immediate trailer, this official trailer?
So I haven't voiced this in here a lot, but there's a level of hesitancy that I have had with the stuff leading up to this. That, like, I haven't disliked really pretty much anything, but I haven't loved most of it. I've liked a good chunk of it. And I go, oh, that's interesting. That's a good choice. I kind of like that. But truthfully, I really just needed to see David Cornsweet speak. Like, it was like something that I felt like or any of the actors, truly. I just
Right.
really needed them to say words. So, like, when it comes down
Yeah.
to it,
Yeah.
like, are you the character that lives in my head, or that lives in millions of people's heads? And the first 20 seconds of the trailer, like I not even honestly, first 10 seconds when Lois is like, "You let me interview as Superman." Sure. Whatever, but okay, Superman. And he leans forward. He goes, Miss Lane. I was in. That was it. That's all. That's you could have
Yeah.
ended the trailer there, and it gave. That's I needed that. I heard him. He switched. I liked what I heard all the way through, and now I'm really pumped in a way that I wasn't before. I was like, I was excited, obviously, but we've got three big movies coming out this summer. We got Jurassic World Rebirth, we've got Superman, and we've got Fantastic Four. And truthfully, I was leaning Jurassic World and Fantastic Four until this trailer, and now I'm like, nope, okay, I'm in. This is the one I'm anticipating the most now. And like
Yes.
James Gunn has said that interview scene is one of his favorites in the movie, and I can see why. Superman
Nice.
screaming or shouting, people were going to die, and being real anguish over that. Like I had to save the people they were going to die. Like
Mm,
there was no choice for me. I'm in. That's it. That's Superman.
yep.
I think I was the exact same way, and sounds like Frank also. That is what made me feel like this is going to be something that is worth my time as a Superman fan. This is going to be something that um, the relationship, the dynamic between Lois and Clark is going to be front and center here, and it feels like something we haven't gotten necessarily on this platform, on this stage, this type of a relationship, and the exactly what you said, Tangent, about, I almost felt like Christopher Reeve was in the trailer when he transforms from Clark into Superman, like just him leaning forward and saying Miss Lane. And I'm hoping we're getting more also in the movie as well. But it was the feeling that I got when I came away from it. It was okay, yeah. I already love that teaser, but the trailer, this official trailer, I'm like, all right, I don't want any more. I don't want to be spoiled. I want to see this full movie. And I feel like I'm in good hands.
Yeah, I want to do something about that scene that I did notice where where he's pretty nonchalant about the interview at
Mm,
first, where he's like, "Yeah, sure, like yeah, I'll let
Yes,
you
yes.
interview me," and she goes right in and even reminds him in it, like, "I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman.
yeah.
Remember?" So what I think is really fascinating about that is that he has a harder time like discerning what's Superman and what's Clark. Like if he's just answering, he's kind of answering as both. And she has to remind him, like, no, you're supposed to be Superman right now. He has this twinkle in his eye, like it's a game. And she reminds him that it's not a game. Like what you're doing is
Mhm.
not, and not that Clark doesn't take what he does seriously. Obviously, he does. But I like that she's there to root him in the seriousness of it. And always, no matter when you're being Superman, no matter when you're like, there is a difference. But for him, Clark and Superman save people. It's all the same thing.
Mm,
And I just got that just from 30 seconds of them talking.
hmm.
And so I can't
Yes.
wait to see what else the movie can
We
Almost
do.
as
will.
important as that to me was just hearing Lois talk at all too, right?
Mhm.
Like I want just
Yes.
hearing
Mhm.
like hearing David speak, but hearing Rachel speak also was something that was I because we before this trailer we haven't seen her perform the character at all, apart from like a couple of very brief glimpses in that teaser. So I was very anxious to actually get to see what her performance looks like just get a little tease of it, a
Yes.
little taste of it, and because that's something that you have to nail too. Like you have to nail both of those characters
Right.
for the movie to really work. And it looks like they are so far.
I am pumped. Man, I can't wait. And we will be talking about it here on This Comic Cooks Beer with Geeks. We're going to be doing another collaboration as we always do. I did want to shout out. I'm trying something new on the live right now. If you're on Twitch or you're on YouTube, you are watching us live. I don't have like the StreamYard thing where you could pull up the comments. But I did want to acknowledge we've got some nice chatter going on. Major Zero, like I said, Adam is on the fence about Superman. He says he still doesn't know if it feels like a TV show or a movie. He feels like Fantastic Four is going to bomb, and it makes him sad. So that is Major Zero's thoughts. Wonder Rob is in the chat as always. Wonderful guy. Wonder is in the chat. Excellent stuff, guys. Man, I can't wait for this new Superman movie, and I hope that you guys out there are as pumped as we are. Let's talk real quick about our honorable mentions for this month. These are the comics that came out that we are not talking about, but we did want to mention them just because they contain the super family. Supergirl #1, Secret Six #3, DC versus Vampires, World War V #9, DC X Sonic the Hedgehog #3, Action Comics 1086, and then we got the two parts of the We Are Yesterday. Batman Superman World's Finest #39 was part 4, Justice League Unlimited #7 was part 5, and I am still enjoying that. It's a fun time travel, like the old super friends. I almost feel like villains are there, and then the current guys, and they're mixing up and going back and forth. So I'm feeling real good about that stuff. Yeah. That was our timey-wimey sound effect. Also, New Gods #5, which Tim Tangent tells me that I need to be reading. I haven't got a chance to catch up on it yet, but Tangent, New Gods, you said is a must read. Is that correct?
It's an underappreciated book for sure.
Okay.
And I will not say that everything Ron V writes is incredible, because it's not. Sometimes it's really boring. Um, but um, his New God stuff is just epic, and it is definitely a read. It doesn't matter if you know the New Gods or not. It's really reader friendly, I found, because I
Nice.
can't say I know tons about them. They're like,
Okay,
it's like
sweet.
Legion of Superheroes almost, where you're like, I know who that is probably. Oh, it's somebody different. I was wrong. Okay, great. All right. Move on. You can just move on with your life.
Yes. Also, real quick, shout out Kevin Cole from Fuse Film. I'm actually going to be guesting on the Fuse Film podcast coming up here. So Kevin is also telling us that the movie marketing sucks for Superman, and he wants to know why he should see it. Persuade him. I would say that this is the moniker of this movie, and I think the mantra of this James Gunn film is, this is not official, but this is my take: embrace the Silver Age. I think this is something that we have not seen before in to this degree, because most superhero things and Superman products for the most part have kind of held back on the comic bookiness of it, and kind of, okay, we have to mute the tones of the outfits, and we have to make it more realistic, and no flights, no tights, the Smallville mantra. So I feel like James Gunn with this, and I think just from the two trailers that we've gotten so far, and just a lot of the interviews that he's gotten, I think he is embracing comics, and specifically the Silver Age, more than anything that we've seen in the past. With Crypto, that was one that was always like, oh, Shelby, and kind of,
Yeah.
it's an Easter egg and an inside joke that Crypto's here. But James Gunn's like, nope, put the cape on him. This is Crypto. Like, this is a full-on Silver Age, and I'm here for it. I think that's the reason to go see this movie, is like, it feels like we are unabashed comic fans. We love this format and this medium, and the movie does too. So that's what I think is the reason why. I also think that everyone here should check out Kevin Call's Substack. He just wrote a post about this movie marketing Superman, and he's also kind of starting. This is the start of the Fuse Film Substack. So everybody head over there. I will have a link in the show notes about that. So check that out. I also wanted to say real quick, we're not going to talk about it, but Free Comic Book Day had the Good Guy Gang, which was kind of, it's a fun, I think this is going to be something that I'm going to be reading to my son, who is 4 years old right now. And the book that I'm going to be talking about had kind of a preview on Free Comic Book Day, and we got a lovely milk bone advertisement. Superman: A Friendship Unleashed. These were all great things that we got this month. Did anybody get out to Free Comic Book Day? I can't remember if we talked about it. Tangent, I think you did.
I didn't go on the day, but I have a friend that owns a comic book shop, and so I went. I ended up going a couple days later.
Mm.
And my daughter, who is 3, turned to be 4 in September, called me while I was there. She said, "Where are you?" And I said, I'm at Palmer's comic book shop." And she said, "Okay, get me something. Get me Star Wars and Superman. Make sure it has Lois in it." Um, so
Yes.
so I got they actually were out of the Good Guy Gang, and so I read it, but I read that one digitally, but I
Ah,
was able to get the preview for Unlimited,
Nice.
um,
yes.
not Unlimited, no, it's Superman Unlimited, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I got that one, and I got a Star Wars book, and so she was
Nice.
Okay,
satisfied. It does in
perfect.
fact have Lois in it, so
Ah,
yeah, so she was happy.
uh, nice.
That's
I did
awesome.
not get a chance to go out to my local shop. Frank, did you get a chance to
I
peruse the
I did.
aisles?
I did. I
Nice.
was able to take my daughter to Free Comic Book Day. She's almost 3.
Nice.
And so it was a lot of fun. She doesn't know much, but she knows she likes Superman, and she saw a lot of Superman stuff, and that made her happy. And she like grabbed a pop doll off the shelf. And I was like,
Yay.
are we going home with this, or can I put this back? Okay, just put it on the shelf. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, let's go. But
Nice.
we got a yeah, like a bunch of the free books, and then picked up a few other they our shop was had a bunch of stuff marked down. So there was like a Justice League little golden book, and some Star Wars little golden books, and um, a couple other things besides. So we had a nice little haul on Free Comic Book Day, and she enjoyed her first experience in a comic book shop. So I look forward to taking her there to hang out more.
Man, that makes me happy, Frank. That makes my heart sing. I also just figured out that I guess I can show the comments on the stream. So hopefully people are seeing the comments down below.
Nice.
We're having some great conversations between Fuse Film and Major Zero over in the chat. So if you guys like this, we can do more of these live chats and streams in the future. Just trying it out to see what we think. Now, before we talk about our main books, this is also kind of a new format change that we're doing where each member of our crew picks their favorite read of the month. I did want to mention sad news. Peter David passed away, a titan in the industry of comic books. He was someone that, especially when you talk about the Incredible Hulk, that was like one of the first names that comes up. And he had a 12-year run on Incredible Hulk, and just one of those guys that when his name is mentioned, it's just like, oh man, this is one of those great comic book creators, and there's so much respect that was shown to him. Unfortunately, he had some major health problems in the last, like, man, even I would say like the last decade. I was looking at kind of a history of what he was going through, and just man, strokes and heart failures and kidney failures, and like, man, just a ton of stuff. And he sadly passed away. So at the age of 68, he worked on Young Justice, Supergirl, just a ton of not only Marvel but DC work. Was there anything that you guys had like a memory of Peter David's work throughout the years?
For me, it's Supergirl. I'm most
Yes.
familiar with his work on Supergirl. I'm very much aware of his Hulk stuff. I feel like that's probably better known. But being a super fan, um, the Supergirl stuff is the stuff that I'm most familiar with, and I've read a bunch of his stuff from that run. It's yeah, it's he was an incredibly gifted writer, and it's very very sad, very very sad. But he'll be missed, but he leaves behind a great legacy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Tangent.
I am most familiar with his Aquaman stuff.
Ah, yes,
He had
yes.
a stellar run on Aquaman for a while,
Mm,
and he had tons of Star Trek novels, like
that's right.
tons and tons and tons of Star Trek novels. So, um, yeah, man was a legend. He like, yeah, that is really sad. I mean, it's always sad when somebody dies, like truly,
Yeah.
um, but he did he wrote Star Trek: The New Frontier, which was the
Yes.
like
Yes.
new crew in novel form. So it's like
Mm.
so instead of just always being attached, it could do its own thing, and they're really fun. They're good books, and Yeah, I'll miss Peter David. Just
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that
Not
we like take for granted with
mm,
some modern comics now comes from him.
yes. Yes. And he also was a prolific television writer as well. Babylon 5, Young Justice, Ben 10, just a very creative man. And like I said, a titan in the industry. So RIP, Peter David, you will be missed.
Is he the
All
creator
right.
of? He's the creator of Spider-Man 2099 too.
You know, that
Hmm.
No, I'm
sounds
positive.
familiar.
I'm looking at it. I looked
Okay.
it up
Nice.
to make sure. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So
Which I just showed Across the Spider-Verse to my son, and
mm,
Spider-Man 2099 was his favorite part of that movie. And
Nice.
he was running around earlier today, 2099, 2099. So he's like, is he a good guy or a bad guy? I was like, he's a good guy. We won't talk about that stuff where he's
It's
chasing Miles around.
Don't worry about it.
they're playing
um,
tag. Don't worry about it.
yes. So, yes, Peter David, ton of contributions to the world of television and comic books. So, thank you very much, Mr. David. Rest in peace. All right, let's talk about our picks of the month for Superman titles. And kicking us off, let's go, Tim Tangent. What was your favorite book that you read this month?
Pick of the month was Absolute Superman number 7, which is funny because it actually Absolute wouldn't have been my pick most months. Like I've enjoyed it, but this particular issue was just so disturbing, which is not a word that I use with Superman very frequently. Disturbing. Uh, but I just it was basically an origin story for Absolute Brainiac, and it was sad and horrifying and great science fiction. I think like
Yes.
when it came down to it, I think that was my favorite part about it. I was like, comics are science fiction. Like when it really, I mean, there are a lot of genres, but this is just hard sci-fi, like
Yes.
modern, gross, disturbing sci-fi, and uh, and I really liked it because I think Brainiac in the regular universe in Earth Prime is still kind of a disturbing figure, but you get used to him. And so to kind of up the level of his malevolence was really cool. I liked it a lot.
Yes.
It's actually the Jason Aaron that I know, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
he can be a little twisted, um I dug the whole thing. I really liked it.
Man, and I've talked, like I said, many times about how I am loving Absolute Superman. This was just another fantastic issue. I I'm wondering where I don't know if I talked about it on this podcast or if it was another podcast, but I'm kind of also wondering where is the Absolute Universe going to crescendo? Like, where is it all heading to? And we got like if you look at the Marvel Ultimate Universe, they had like a 10-year run and it was pretty good. Came to a conclusion. They took Miles Morales and the Maker and kind of washed everything else. All right, we'll take these guys that we like, cherry pick them, and then bring them over to the main universe. I wonder if they're going to do something similar with this Absolute Universe. I wonder if they're going to have multiple characters running around or they're going to have some side characters or like even a different take on them like in Absolute Flash, the latest issue they had what looked like a Gleek monkey on Wally West's shoulder, but he's actually the absolute version of Gorilla Grodd, and he has telepathic abilities. He talks to Wally. In just that first issue, he's a good guy. He's working and helping Wally. But I wonder if they're going to bring something like that over to the main DC universe. I think that's going to be interesting to see what they do
If
with
they
the
do, I
absolute
hope
stuff.
it's not for a long time, truthfully. I like them separate. I was sad when the Ultimate Universe ended. I liked those books. I liked it being separate. Now, like you said, not all of them were great. They didn't all have great runs, pretty much except for Spider-Man, which was a pretty consistent run from start to finish.
Yes.
Um, but like they had 10 years worth of stories to tell before numbers really dipped and they wanted to do something different and whatever. I hope that this isn't like a okay, it's been a year. Good job, everybody. High five. We've
Yes.
sold 2 volumes of books. Like I don't know why they're Canadian now, but
Yeah.
um, that I feel like it's barely getting started, and
Hmm. Right.
it's obviously ramping towards dark side. Like if you said, where's
Yes.
it going to crescendo? It's going to crescendo at dark side. But I hope that it takes a while to get there. I think dark side is
Yeah.
more effective when he's used sparingly. Um, and so I hope that they hold him back as long as possible.
Yes, I am with you there 100%. And I also echo what you said about the horror elements of this one, like the art style and everything just kind of really coalesce in this book of like this is a horror comic almost like this is um machine and body horror. So I
There's
really like that.
something
Frank.
about Brainiac scratching his brain that I
Yeah.
just like.
Yes, yes, same. And I had the same
Yes.
thought. Like when you were saying
Yes.
that it is hard sci-fi. It is, but it's like body horror sci-fi like melded together, right? Yeah, the scratching his brain stuff was really yeah. I mean, it was cool. It was cool, and it was a very um it was a great example of like comic books are for thinking. It's not always just like let me see the pictures of the stuff exploding. Like a lot of it is like this issue was like all dialogue, right?
Yes. Yep. Man, I there's a lot of stuff that Jason Aaron is putting out right now, and I don't know if he's stretching himself too thin, but I feel like Absolute Superman is what I'm enjoying the most right now, out of all the stuff that he's been putting out lately. So, man, this was just another fantastic book, and I really like how the art has stayed consistent. Absolute Batman has kind of jumped around on artists, and I'm not. It's like I love it and I don't. I love it and I hate it at the same time. It's like there's aspects of the fill-in artists or the guys that are coming on. Marcos Martin, one of my favorite artists in comics. But I just there's something about having a consistent artist on a brand new title like this, which like Tangent said with Ultimate Spider-Man, I think one of the key successes of that book, besides it being just a fantastic um, writing, was that they kept the same team for such a long time. They set the record for consecutive artist and writer together. So having that one consistent look throughout the book, it just there's just something about that, and I know the actual the behind the scenes and the ins and outs of comic creating and trying to get art out on a monthly basis is a huge endeavor. But man, it's Absolute Superman. It's been fantastic to be like it feels like a solid, consistent book every month. Man, Absolute, like I said, has been cooking. But I think we'll just go in release order. So Absolute Superman was released May 7th, and my pick was released May 21st. It's actually the free comic book day that we talked about preview, which was Superman Unlimited #1. Now, this was kind of like a lot of fanfare and Dan Slott coming over after uh, I want to say he was like with Marvel for 20 years. He had a contract, an exclusive contract with Marvel. And I was listening to, he was on the Word Balloon podcast, and he was talking about how DC had come to him 4 different times and was like, all right, we're going to give you a Superman book. We're going to give you a Superman book. And there's a number of things that held him back. But he was saying one of the things was the trunks on the outside. He said, I don't want to write Superman unless he's got the trunks, unless he's wearing. And they were like, Dan, Jim Lee, our COO, he's the one who designed this new 52, and we're going with this. It's going to be in the movies. This is the look. And so that just tells you how long that they were courting him over those years. But he's finally here, Superman Unlimited #1, with art by Raphael Albuquerque, who did American Vampire, which I was actually a huge fan of. And Dan Slott has written, I would say he's one of my favorite, along with Bendis, one of my favorite Spider-Man writers of all time. So there was like a huge um, anticipation when I heard that Dan Slott was coming over. And I gotta say, boys, I there's half of this book that I loved, and half of this book it felt like a number one exposition. All right, here's what happened through Superman. Let's catch you up on what happened in Superman over the last whatever amount of time. That part I wasn't as thrilled about. And it's funny because even in that word balloon podcast, he was talking about, all right, how do I make this not sound like exposition? Oh, okay. I can make him, as he's stopping this kryptonite uh meteor, or this asteroid made of kryptonite. He's thinking about this and his life and reflecting on all these things. And so that was kind of the way that he came up with to tell that. But for me, it just still felt like just a lot of exposition, just a lot of like, hey, this is what, and I was like, I already know that stuff. So it wasn't as exciting for me. I'm interested and curious. Let's go the opposite way this time. Super Frank, did you get a chance to check out Superman Unlimited #1?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
What did you think?
I dug it. I dug it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I similarly was very excited about Dan Slott, because I enjoy whatever out of his Spider-Man stuff, and he is just was an institution there at Marvel, and it was exciting to know he was coming over to do Superman of all things. And yeah, I was excited to read the preview that came out on Free Comic Book Day, and then to actually read #1. Um, this has really good. I feel like it's off to a really solid start for a new series.
Yes.
Um, I like what I'm seeing so far here, right? Like, the tone is all there. Like, obviously, like you said, it's very much exposition, so there's not a lot that's um groundbreaking so far. But it's off to a good start, off to a solid start.
Tim Tangent, what do you think about that giant kryptonite uh, structure coming at Earth and splintering and shattering? What do you think about that kind of plot device?
That I don't mind as much. What they did with it afterward, it was kinda just okay to me. It feels a little bit like, a friend of mine actually equated it to adamantium, whereas like, so kryptonite is,
Ooh,
adamantium or
yeah,
whatever,
right.
and which I
Hmm.
don't dislike. It just feels it does all feel like one big plot device that's not going
Right.
to go anywhere. I think maybe that was it, and maybe because half the book was exposition, as hard as Dan Slott maybe tried not to make that. But I can't understand, like, you have a new Superman movie coming out. Maybe that's going to get somebody in the comic shop, and maybe they don't, maybe they're young, they haven't read 40 years of comic history, they don't know where to start. Here's Superman Unlimited #1. It's in continuity. It's an important story, but it catches you up on everything you need to know. And if I was a kid and I read that, what's this? What's this? What's like all these big things that are happening, all of a sudden you're into it. You're dragged in
Hmm.
because now you are steeped in the history or reading one 22-page length book. And so I don't begrudge the exposition. Um, if I was a new reader, like I understand why that's done. We
Right.
want comics to survive. You want you need new readers,
Yeah.
like flat out.
And I think they did tell him this was going to be the free comic book day. So he was saying on that podcast also that he kind of structured it to be okay. The preview is going to be that exposition stuff, and I know that a lot of people are going to see this. So not only the movie, but I know on free comic book day there's going to be a lot of exposure. So yeah, maybe the second issue will be kind of the next start. There is that last page that was very interesting of how Superman survived. He got hit by and buried by a mountain of kryptonite. And so what was the way that he survived? He's gold, everybody. Gold Superman. Goldilocks. So what does that mean? And what is the implications of this? I'm going to be interested because if he's the only one, if all
Hmm.
the Kryptonians are not able to, like we see with Supergirl and Superboy in the background there. Like if they're all going to be they're powered depowered and they're down and he's going to be the only one. It's almost like that notion of him being the last survivor of Krypton and him being the like raising him back up to that status of like this is the guy, this is the one Superman. He's the one who's his power levels are larger than everyone else's. So we'll see what happens in Superman Unlimited #2. We will be talking about it next month. Super Frank, you have the last pick of the month. What was your pick, sir?
My pick for this month was Superman number 26.
Yeah.
This one just dropped last week as we're recording this at the end of May. Um, I mean I've been enjoying this series the whole way through, so I mean that shouldn't be a surprise if you've been listening to our reviews. Like this has been a book that I think all of us have enjoyed a lot. But this month's issue I thought had a lot of um I was really taken in as I have been all along with the Supercorp side of things, and that story I'm finding really um, suspenseful and interesting, and it's pulling me along. Lois and her powers and what's going on there and where that is headed next. I'm very interested in Lois's. I'm very invested in Lois at this point uh, this telling of the story. The red kryptonite stuff. Um, I really dug in particular because like you see a lot of hero going bad stories, and I'm typically not very much a fan of those, and in particular, I don't typically love like seeing Superman in that kind of a story, but I felt like this wasn't just this could have gone that way very easily and didn't, and I was very glad to see that it was this like meditation on power and trust and self-control, like the thing that is his greatest strength in some ways is his self-control, his ability
Yes.
to hold it back, and it that thing being his greatest strength can also be his greatest liability.
Mm.
Um, and so there was a lot of vulnerability and this feeling of like isolation for him. Um, it it it, it had very high emotional stakes, um, in a way that I really dug.
Yes. I 100% agree. Tim Tangent, what did you think about Superman #26?
I agree with Frank pretty much across the board. I have been thinking almost since it came out about Lois's reaction to losing her powers.
Mm.
Like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back to the planet and I'm gonna do some work. Like classic,
Yes.
classic Lois,
Yep.
and he's like, okay, you do that,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
classic Lois, but then like it's Lex that's actually like, you don't think that she's actually affected by that? Like what it was like to be you, that he knows super like this is not manipulation. He actually knows them both, especially Superman, so well. Like, you don't think that she's not like actually devastated by any of this or whatever. I really liked that because sometimes we tend to make Superman a faultless character, like he can actually do no wrong whatsoever, and that's not the case. And so I liked that. I liked that part. I also dug the potential Supergirl reference of Lena and Supergirl becoming
Mm.
friends, or maybe Lena being the Supergirl of Smallville. If you read Supergirl #1, it's hard to tell.
Hmm.
Um, so I honestly don't know what's going on there, but anyway, yeah, I did enjoy this issue.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like they tied up a bunch of storylines and plot elements that I'm interested in of each one of these relationships. Superman and Lex, Superman and Lois, Lena, Mercy, all of these characters, Joshua Williamson is juggling them. And I'm interested in every one of these stories that's going on. All of um, the red kryptonite thing, I was like, man, I've been waiting for this. I've been wanting to see when this was going to come out. We kept seeing hints of it, and now it's like, oh, now it feels like it's really coming out. All of those things, even the time trapper stuff, like I
Mhm.
think Williamson is actually this is going to be a really nice trade when this is all said and done. I think the work that he's putting together here is going to be a nice Superman thing to have on your shelf or to hand to someone. So yeah,
Mm.
kudos on this one, Super Frank. This was a really good pick for this month. Um, any thoughts on the Maryland Moon Knight or Moonlight? I'm sorry, Maryland Moonlight appearance at the very end there. I don't know. It just kind of it felt like too. She's been there before, like I said, so it's not like he is bringing these elements back from previous storylines, but I just I don't know. I need to see more. It was a okay cliffhanger to me, but I was like, I wanted a little bit more at the end there. I don't know if you guys had a similar feeling.
Are you in the stop trying to make Maryland Moonlight happen? It's not gonna happen camp? Is that what you're saying?
I like her. Even in the previous storyline that we got, I was like, oh, that's a fun side story, but I felt like this one it didn't fit to me. I want to see where it goes from here. Maybe there's something in the next issue that will retroactively say, "Oh, okay,
She's gonna
that was a
cure him,
fun."
if anything. I do have to say, I really like her outfit, though. I know this is
Mm,
kind of
yes.
like dumb, but I love the moonlight hat into the mask,
Yeah.
the underlighting. It's just really cool. And if she didn't look as cool, I don't know if I would like her. As much as I do, I think it's just a cool outfit.
Mm.
It's giving Zorro in a big way, right?
Yeah,
Totally,
100%.
totally,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Man, this was a fun month for Superman fans. Like I said, we got the trailer, we got all these great books, we got Free Comic Book Day, and next month, let's just hope that we can have a similar run of good comics. And then July, boys, is going to be the actual film. We are going to talk about it here on this Comic Books and Beer with Geeks. We're going to have a wonderful crossover between our two podcasts. Speaking of Beer with Geeks, boys, what is coming up on Beer with Geeks? What do you got? What do you got in the pipeline?
I hope you like tier lists.
Ooh, I do.
Uh, our
More?
our our series on our digression on the entire DC, all 252 characters in the DC universe continues
Woo!
over at Beer with Geeks HQ. So you can check that out. As we're live, it has not hit the feed yet, but that's all the more reason to go subscribe and
Oh man.
have it there when it drops.
Yes, yes, excellent. Tim Tangent, thank you for joining me, my friend. Thank you for bringing your 800-year-old beverage along with you. Super Frank, as always, you are a wonderful person, a human being that I really enjoy. Thank you very much for listening to us here on this Comic Cooks and Beer with Geeks. You can always see all of our stuff down in the show notes, down in the description. Drop your comments. Was there a super book that you loved this month? Are you excited about the trailer? Are you excited about the movie? Are you hyped? Or, like our lovely guest, do you think that the marketing could use a little boost? I want to know in the comments down below and YouTube. I don't know about Twitch. I'm kind of new to Twitch, so we're streaming there now. I don't know if there's comments you can leave there, but if so, leave some comments, like the episode, subscribe, share it with your favorite Superman fan, and we will be back next month for some more super goodness. Until then, everybody, stay super. Cheers.